The sabotage. I watched the sabotage did not just involve Diana trying to control things. I watched the sabotage did not just involve Forrest handing Diana the reins. Forrest did not want to tell Sheena the truth. Forrest never really wanted to marry Sheena. Forrest wanted the fantasy. The fantasy was the version of Sheena who lived in video calls filtered through emojis and compliments and long-distance longing. Real Sheena? Real Sheena had boundaries, family, her own trauma, and her own voice. I saw the man did not know how to love the woman. The man bailed, coward style. Here is where the things become even uglier. I hear Forrest speak about this. Forrest admits that part of Forrest liked being the savior. The savior who sent the money. The savior who Sheena leaned on. The savior role made Forrest feel needed. The savior role made Forrest feel powerful. Then the savior role became too real. Then the emotional tab came due. Then Forrest wanted out. I saw the person admit the thing on camera. The worst part? The person says the admission without tears. The person says the admission without shame. The person says the admission flat. I was afraid. I was afraid of being responsible for the life of another person. I was afraid of becoming a stepdad. I was afraid of my mom not forgiving the person. I watched the boy say that last part. The boy's voice cracks. I finally see the truth behind the boy who ran. I noticed that Forrest never loved Sheena the way Sheena loved Forrest. Forrest never learned to love without permission, without Forrest's mother's approval, or without needing someone to validate every decision Forrest made. Forrest was not just under Diana's thumb. Forrest chose to stay. Forrest stayed because it was easier than being accountable. I saw the video go viral. Sheena does not react at first. Sheena disappears from media. Sheena's new show filming pauses. TLC releases a statement about responsibility. Forrest deletes Forrest's video. The damage is already done. Reddit explodes. Podcasts look at every frame. Fans demand justice. Diana shuts down Diana's accounts. April releases one TikTok that shows a black screen with the caption, "Forgive, but never forget." 2 weeks later, Sheena returns. Sheena is glowing. I noticed the user posts a photo, the user and Elijah on a beach at sunset. The photo has no filters. The photo has no hashtags. The photo has a caption, "Start over now." The start over is real this time. In that one sentence, I feel the power. She takes back the story. Not just the story from Forrest. Not just the story from Diana. She takes back every voice that ever said that she must earn love. She takes back every voice that ever said that she must hide parts of herself to be chosen. She is done with the story. That brings us to you. Yes, you are watching this. Because if you have been holding your breath through this chaotic human roller coaster of a saga, ask yourself this: I have fallen in love with the idea of someone. Then I realized that someone was never ready to meet me where I stood, because that is the story. I know that the real story matters more than the drama or the betrayal. The courage is to say that I still deserve love after this. If you have ever been Sheena, if you have ever sat across from someone who smiled while quietly planning someone's exit, you are not alone. I have seen that too. I leave you with the call to action. If you have ever survived a love that gaslight you, a love that controlled you, or a love that abandoned you when you needed truth, drop a in the comments. I have been there. Not because you are bitter. Because you are still here. You are still healing. You are still choosing yourself. And to Forrest, enjoy your basement. Because I guess you can guess who else knew. The answer is TLC. I heard that one of the producers leaked that the storyline was pitched to the execs. In the mid-season, I heard that Diana allegedly pulled the strings and suggested a love triangle angle. If the storyline did not work out with Sheena, I heard that the producers flew April in under the pretense of Forrest. The surprise was not a surprise. Not for Forrest. Only for Sheena. Only for the viewers. The fans are revolting. The Reddit threads are blowing up. The people call for TLC to release the footage. The people accuse the network of exploitation. I do not disagree. Sheena did not just experience a surprise. Someone set up Sheena. Sheena cared for the child, off-screen with the hope of building the life. This leads to a question: if someone has ever played you by pretending to love you only to show that they had an escape plan, the time. Drop a heart in the comments. Sheena's story is not just Sheena's story. Sheena's story belongs to all of us. I think there is no coming. I think there is no saving this chaos. Another bombshell drops. A new leak. But this one? The source does not come from Clarice. I have. The source does not come from Sheena. The source does not come from Forrest. I have. The source does not come from Diana. April is the source. I noticed that the source comes from April. What does she reveal in her DMs? April rewrites everything. When April finally breaks her silence, April does not speak in an interview. April does not go through a producer, a confessional, or a tabloid. April shares a series of Instagram stories posted at 2 a.m. The Instagram stories have no filter. No makeup, no music. The Instagram stories show hands and a stuttering voice that sounds like April might fall apart. I watched the Instagram stories. Felt the tension rise. What April says does not just blow up the narrative. The narrative burns to the ground. I know that April was not the leader. I know that April was not Forrest's girlfriend. I know that April was not even interested in joining the show. She could not say no. The force made the individual who was present at that time go into it. April says Diana, her godmother, her second mom, had been grooming April to be an option for Forrest for over a year. Anytime Forrest had the problems with Sheena, Diana would call April. Say things like, "You would never lie like that. You would never hide things from him. You would be perfect together." April claims April repeatedly told Diana no, that April was not interested in Forrest like that. Diana did not hear the call. I did not want to hear the sound then. The pressure started. I could feel the pressure in my chest. Suddenly Diana offered to fly April to the Philippines. The flight cost nothing. Diana said, "Come relax. Help Forrest see clearly." April landed in Manila. April realized quickly that the situation was not a vacation. The situation was a setup. The producers already knew the plan. The staff booked the hotel room for April and Forrest. I saw Diana plant the idea in Forrest's mind. I heard Diana say that Sheena was too unstable. Maybe it is time to move on. I watched the scene. So what did April do? April panicked. April says Forrest looked lost, like a child trying to read a script he did not write. He told April, "I do not know what is real anymore." April made a choice. April stayed silent. Not because April wanted Forrest. Because April felt trapped. Because Diana had paid for everything. Because the cameras were watching. Because the producers were telling April, "This is your moment." Now she regrets it. She feels the regret. Wait, it does not stop there. I was surprised when April shared a voice note. The voice note is real. Diana sent the voice note to April days before the hotel confrontation. I think the voice note is chilling. In the recording, Diana says, "Sheena was never going to be good enough. We gave Sheena the chance. Sheena blew it. Now it is time for Forrest to come back with someone who knows how to act. I need you, April. Be the woman Forrest deserves." Take a moment. Let the point sink in. I saw that this was not about love. I saw that this was not about healing. I saw that this was about control. Diana did not want Diana's son to be happy. Diana wanted Diana's son to be obedient. When Sheena challenged Diana, when Sheena refused to play nice, Diana used Diana's goddaughter as a weapon to bring the thing crashing down. Forrest? Oblivious. Maybe not. April ends April's video with one bombshell. April says that after they left the Philippines, April cut contact with Diana. April blocked Diana. April moved in with April's family. Forrest, I wonder about Forrest, hasn't spoken to her since. Not a text. Not a thank you. Not a single call, just ghosted. That leaves us with one conclusion. Did Forrest use April? Was April just another crutch? Was April an escape hatch to avoid accountability? If that is true, then Forrest is not the victim of his mom's manipulation. Forrest is the product of that manipulation. Forrest fears conflict. Forrest wants love without discomfort. Forrest lets other people do his labor. Here is the part. The part hurts the most. Sheena sees the thing. Sheena sees the story of April. Sheena watches the videos of gloating. Sheena reaches out. Sheena deems April. What does Sheena say? "I am sorry. She did that to you." Well, that right there? That is strength. That is the kind of grace that reality TV does not know how to handle. I see that as power. Because Sheena could have gone revenge. Sheena could have dragged April. Sheena could have exposed Forrest. Sheena could have sued the network. Instead, Sheena chose empathy. Sheena chose healing. And here is the twist you did not see coming. TLC offered the woman a follow-up. That follow-up creates a storyline. That new storyline gives a chance. The fresh chance does not include Forrest. The fresh chance does not include any man. They offered her spin-off. The spin-off was hers. The docuseries is limited. The docuseries follows motherhood. The docuseries follows the recovery from heartbreak. The docuseries follows the side of romance that no one talks about. The docuseries shows the shame that comes with romance. The docuseries shows the sacrifices that happen in romance. The docuseries shows the stigma of being called a gold digger when the only goal is surviving. I watch the docuseries. Feel each story. The docuseries stays with me. For a moment I feel the chaos calm down. I feel the dust settle. Maybe the story ends with growth of destruction. Then, I see Sheena sign the contract. I see filming start on Sheena's episode. I see Sheena finally breathe. I saw a Reddit account that has ever posted about Forrest and Sheena upload a video. I see Forrest sitting in the room. Forrest wears the hoodie, looks at the camera. The video has no music. The video has no edit. The video contains 5 words. I have something I need to tell you. Fade to black. The time is 2:17 a.m. when the video starts. The video starts at 2:17 grainy dimly lit. I see Forrest sitting alone hunched over in his mom's basement. The ceiling fan buzzes above. Forrest does not blink. Forrest's eyes are tired, almost hollow, when Forrest finally speaks. The words are not the spoken Forrest we saw on Before the 90 Days. The words come from Sumyon Somyeon, who has finally run out of people to hide behind. I see the man clear the man's throat. The man says, I never planned to do this. I cannot let people think I just disappeared. I cannot let people think I did not care. I watch. The breath shakes. Then with a breath the man drops the object. The final twist. He never sent in an application for the K-1 visa. The K-1 visa never got his paperwork. That is right. All those promises? The proposal plans? The crying at the airport? The hotel room fights? The timeline? They are fake. I see that Forrest never even submitted the paperwork to bring Sheena to the US. And not that Forrest lied to the producers. Forrest told the producers the application was processing. Forrest told Sheena the producers were just waiting on approval. Meanwhile, Forrest used the waiting period to figure out how to get out. I saw that the whole scene was a stall. The whole thing felt like a stall. Every I love you, every we just need time, a cushion so the man would not look like the guy. When the man bailed. When Sheena started asking questions, when Sheena brought up timelines, housing, schooling for her son, the man panicked. The man went to Diana. Diana did what Diana always does. Diana took over. April. The setup. In person, I was surprised when Clarice walked into the hotel unannounced. Before anyone asks, Clarice is not Forrest's ex. Clarice is not Sheena's sister. Clarice used to be Sheena's friend. Clarice arrived with tea that no one was ready for. I was there when the producers were very surprised. Clarice was not scheduled. Clarice was not cleared. Clarice was not part of the production. Somehow Clarice got the address. Clarice walked into the lobby. Clarice sat down. Clarice told the crew that Clarice had something to say about Sheena and that it could not wait. The producers finally let Clarice talk. The jaws of the crew hit the floor. I heard Clarice say that when Forrest first started messaging Sheena online, Sheena was also talking to 3 guys, not 1, not 2, 3. I heard Clarice say that Sheena kept a notebook where Sheena wrote down the time zones, the birthdays, the gifts the foreign guys sent. I heard Clarice say that Forrest was not the one. I heard Clarice say that Forrest was the generous. I heard Clarice say that the story about love at Skype call was made up. Now the situation gets messy. I think we want to trust Clarissa. There is a twist. Clarissa and Sheena had a falling out over the guy 2 years ago. Clarissa's sudden appearance looks like timing. I think the timing could be revenge. I think Clarissa might be lying. Clarissa brought screenshots. The screenshots show the Facebook messages. The messages and even the PayPal transfer that Sheena allegedly made to Clarissa, asking Clarissa to cover the story if anyone ever asked. And that changes everything. I watched Forrest see the footage. The scene feels like Forrest's whole world collapses. Forrest's face goes blank. Forrest does not run to Forrest's mom for the time this season. I felt the tension rise as Forrest confronts Sheena on camera in front of the crew. In front of Clarice. The confrontation hurts. Forrest walks into the hotel room, throws the screenshots down and asks, was I ever the one? Sheena stares at Forrest. Sheena is frozen. I sit there. The silence does not say a word for what feels like. The silence is painful. I watched the woman break down. The breakdown was not guilt. The breakdown was rage. The woman accused Clarice of jealousy, betrayal, wanting Forrest for herself. The woman said the screenshots were taken out of context. The woman said, I did talk to others before I met Forrest in person. Forrest knew that. Forrest knew. Forrest just forgot because now Forrest wants to play the victim. That moment? That is where the entire narrative turns on its head. To me, the moment feels like a twist. Because someone suddenly exposes Forrest well. It turns out Forrest did know about the guys in the days. Their chats contained that knowledge. Forrest even joked about it once, saying, I hope I am winning the race. Now Forrest acts brand new? Suddenly that is betrayal. So now I'm sitting in the middle of the battlefield. Sheena is screaming, Clarice is denying. Forrest is silent. Who walks in? Diana walks in. Course Diana walks in. The first thing Diana says is I knew it. The next thing Diana says is chilling. I saw Diana turn to Sheena and say, you do not deserve to be a mother. Diana barely knows Sheena. Diana has only micromanaged. Diana throws the insult at a single mother who is clearly breaking down. In that moment, Diana goes from problematic to villainous. Forrest is shocked. Forrest turns to Diana, says, "That was too far." Diana does not back down. "Now I see it clearly." Forrest is not just stuck between two women. Guilt, loyalty, and a desire to please control Forrest, and Forrest is in a codependent storm. The situation is not just about whether Sheena lied. The question is whether Forrest, Sheena, or the other woman have ever told the truth to each other. I have to say this before we go deeper. If you have made it this far, drop a comment if you have ever watched someone ignore every flag because the person was too afraid to walk away. Because the story is about more than the TV couple. The story is about how the manipulation does not scream, it whispers. The manipulation guilts. The manipulation gaslights. The manipulation wears a smile. All the task is not done. There is still more to do. After Clarissa's surprise, something crazy happens. Forrest disappears again. Forrest disappears again. No warning, no call. Forrest leaves the hotel. Forrest turns off the phone. Sheena thinks Forrest has ghosted Sheena again. I was stunned. I could not understand why Forrest would just vanish and cut off all contact. Guess where Forrest shows up? At the U.S. Embassy in Manila. I heard that Forrest makes an emergency appointment. Forrest tries to get the flight home. Forrest says, fears for his safety. Then Forrest is out. No goodbye. No closure. No final scene. The production scrambles to figure out where Forrest went, if Forrest is filming again, if Forrest is in the country. That is when the final twist of this episode hits. The final twist surprised me. I saw the cameras shut down. I saw Sheena pack up what is left of her dignity. The hotel front desk gave Sheena an envelope. The envelope had no return address. The envelope had Sheena's name. She opens the thing. She wonders what is inside. A photo of Forrest in the airport with another woman. I saw her face was blurred. I felt her hand was in his hand. I saw the time stamp was from today's before. Baby, that is where we end today. Let us get into it. We ended on that envelope. Yes, the envelope. With the photo of Forrest walking through the airport hand in hand with a mystery woman. One question remained. Who is the woman? I am about to tell you. It is not just shocking. The revelation changes the story. The woman walking next to Forrest was not a stranger. The envelope now points to a truth. The woman in the photo is a person we already know. She wasn't a fling. She wasn't even someone new. She was April, Diana's GODDAUGHTER. Yes, you heard the statement right. The meeting at the duty-free was not a rebound for Forrest. Forrest's mother handpicked the woman. Forrest's mother trusted the woman to bring Forrest home. The woman had, according to a Facebook post that was later deleted, always been like a daughter to Diana. Everything clicks now. Why Forrest left without warning. Why Diana was so calm after the confrontation. Why Forrest looked so dazed that morning. Someone planned the thing. I can see how the pieces fit together. Baby, when Sheena finds out, Sheena loses it. Honestly, it is right. Imagine you give your heart to a man who flies across the world for you, promises you forever, gets jealous, runs, comes back, gets cold again, and then leaves with someone who's basically family to the man's mother. That is not betrayal. That is sabotage. And the fact that Diana knew April was flying and makes it worse. Did the woman help arrange the plan? Behind the scenes smile at the producers and say maybe Forrest just needs space? The manipulation is at a level. I heard the story from a whistleblower from production. The whistleblower said that Diana had been pressuring Forrest to end the relationship with Sheena for months. Before Diana and Forrest arrived in the Philippines, Diana had been pushing the idea that Sheena was emotional to secretive, not American enough. Diana even emailed the TLC team. Told the TLC team to prepare a storyline in case the relationship does not work out. And get this, April arrived a week early. I was surprised. April was staying in Manila on standby. So what does that tell us? That Diana came to the Philippines with an exit plan already in place. Forrest may have thought he was in control, but every move he made was shadowed by his mother's intentions. This wasn't just a messy trip. It was a psychological chess match, and Forrest didn't even realize he was a pawn. Now this is where the story takes another turn. I thought that Sheena would just walk away. I thought that Sheena would move on, protect Sheena's son, get off the show. That does not happen. Sheena goes back to the production and Sheena asks for an interview. Sheena asks for the interview. What does Sheena say? It is not desperate. It is not pitiful. It is not the breakdown that the audience expected. I see the call out is a call out. She turns to the camera. Says, for 2 years I believed in the dream. I thought Forrest loved me. I thought Forrest was different. Now I see Forrest is a boy. Forrest lets Forrest's mother make the decisions for Forrest. If that is the kind of man Forrest wants to be, then Forrest can have April. Forrest can live in the house where every emotion needs permission. I am free now, Mick, dropped. Just as Clarice finishes, boom, another twist. I saw the unfold. You all thought Clarice was done. Clarice was not done. Clarice goes live again. This time Clarice has more than shade. Clarice has screenshots from April's Instagram DMs. The screenshots are messages that prove that April and Forrest were already talking before the breakup. The messages are not innocent "hey hope you are" messages. I am talking about flirty late-night texts that date back a month before Forrest flew out to see Sheena. Flirty cryptic late-night texts are the evidence. The timeline is crushed. Forrest did not run to April. Forrest had Sheena waiting the time. I noticed the situation gets worse somehow. You guys, what if I told you that everything you thought you knew about Forrest and Sheena, every Instagram caption, every confessional on before the 90 days was built on truths controlling family and a power game that left Sheena questioning Sheena's sense of reality? We are not just unpacking a love triangle. We are diving into a war zone disguised as a vacation in the Philippines. The unexpected villain might not be who you think. I can see the twist coming. Let us say that the story is not just Forrest and Sheena's love story more. The story now has Forrest, Sheena, and Forrest's mom. It all began in a way. I watched Forrest, the town guy from Oklahoma, fly halfway across the world to meet Sheena, the woman from Davao City. TLC showed Forrest and Sheena as a modern-day fairy tale. The story had romance and cultural curiosity and some misunderstandings. Behind the drone shots of palm trees and sunset dinners, the reality was messy. Because the thing they did not show you until later is that Forrest did not come alone. I saw Forrest bring the mother. The mother was not any mother. It was shocking. The mother was a woman who introduced herself to Sheena not with a hug but with a list of flags printed from Reddit. I am not joking. From the day Forrest's mom Diana made it clear that Diana was not just tagging along. Diana said Diana was on the mission. Diana said the mission was to protect her son from manipulation. There is nothing with the parent. Diana did not meet Sheena. Diana investigated Sheena. Diana stared at Sheena across the dinner table. I watched Diana stare at Sheena. If looks could kill, we would be writing this story from beyond the grave. Here is where the things start to twist. I noticed the things twist. Because while Forrest tried to play mediator, smiling, ordering, lumpia, whispering, Sheena is just shy mom, Forrest never once stepped in. I saw the thing. Not when Diana accused Sheena of lying about Sheena's intentions. Not when Diana asked if Sheena's family expected money. Not when Sheena finally snapped, saying, maybe your son is not the prince you think he is. Yes, Sheena said it. That moment. That was not a clash. The crack split the relationship wide open. The crack ended the relationship. Now the story becomes more unsettling. Forrest and Sheena talked for then a year. Forrest sent Sheena gifts. Forrest helped Sheena with the school fees for Sheena's sister. Forrest promised marriage. Forrest never told Forrest's mom any of that. I watched as the tension rose. When Diana learned the news from Sheena at the time, Diana accused Sheena of using Forrest for Western money. Forrest just sat there. Forrest remained silent. I watch the woman the man loved and the woman who raised the man burn each other to the ground. I ask, how can we still be surprised? The men act shocked that the relationships of the men are falling apart. The men are busy playing ping pong between the two women who are literally screaming across the hotel lobby. I think of Forrest. Forrest flew to the Philippines to meet Forrest's fiancé. Forrest did not fly to film a thriller starring Forrest's mother as the antagonist and Forrest as the narrator. Just when I think it is as bad as it can get, just when I am screaming at my TV, Sheena, run. The first leak arrives. My heart races. The private message from Forrest's cousin surfaces in a fan group. What does the private message say? The private message says that Forrest never planned to marry Sheena. The private message says that the whole trip was about closure. The private message says that Forrest and Diana made a pact before flying, get to know Sheena. But do not make promises yet. Forrest was on the camera whispering the line, I could see us getting married here, to Sheena, while Forrest and Sheena stood under the waterfall. Like what? Now everyone is scrambling. I am watching this. Is someone using Sheena? Is Forrest's mother controlling Forrest? Is Sheena not the innocent we thought Sheena was? We have receipts. We have receipts. If you think the drama far was bad, you are wrong. We are just getting started. Remember the leak we ended on? The leak about Forrest never planning to propose? Buckle in. Because the night that message started circulating, another event took place. I saw Sheena's ex-boyfriend Marco go live on Facebook. The live video began as a rant in Tagalog and English. Marco then said something that sent the 90-day fandom into a spin. Marco said that 2 weeks before Forrest arrived in the Philippines, Marco and Sheena were still in contact. Marco and Sheena were not just talking. Marco and Sheena were planning a future. Marco also showed receipts. The receipts are real. The receipts are screenshots. I saved the voice notes. I also saved a photo of them at a birthday dinner. The blurry photo has a timestamp. I heard that Sheena denies everything. Sheena says it was a family friend gathering. Sheena says Marco is obsessed. Sheena says Marco has tried to sabotage Sheena for months. Something else happens. Forrest mom saw the live stream before Forrest saw the live stream. Forrest mom showed the live stream to Forrest while Sheena was in the shower. It happened during what was supposed to be a getaway weekend in Bohol. Forrest, the man, did not confront Sheena like a man. The man packed his things, walked out, and left a note. The note was scribbled on hotel stationery like a high school breakup. I watched the cameras catch the aftermath. Sheena screamed in Tagalog at the producers. Sheena had mascara streaked, was barefoot in the hallway and yelled. The man ran like a coward. Maybe you are thinking that Forrest got spooked. Maybe Forrest really thought Sheena was to timing him. The problem is Forrest never asked Sheena about it. Forrest did not wait to hear Sheena's side. Forrest just defaulted to Forrest's mother version of the story again. That is when people started asking the question no one dared to ask: is Forrest in love with Sheena? Is Forrest just trying to prove something to Forrest's mother? Because Diana was happy. Diana told the producers that the confirmation matched everything Diana suspected. Diana even used the word vindicated. Diana smiled on camera while Diana's son's relationship fell apart. It feels wrong to see a mother celebrate a child's heartbreak. What kind of mother celebrates Diana's child's heartbreak like that? The story gets darker. One of the producers, off camera, leaked that during a break in filming, Diana said she would never allow Forrest to marry a Filipina because they always want something. The statement, "I think protective parenting is not just parenting. I think prejudice is a prejudice. I think deep-rooted bias is a deep-rooted bias playing out in time under the disguise of instinct." I could not believe that Forrest saying Forrest is open-minded and global just let it slide. The silence filled the room. I was watching the episode. We changed direction. When Sheena starts to recover, Sheena drops a secret of Sheena's own. The secret is something that Sheena had been hiding from everyone, the producers. No one saw this coming. In an interview segment, Sheena reveals that Sheena is keeping something from Forrest. Sheena is not trying to lie. Sheena is scared. Sheena is scared that the secret would push Forrest away. Sheena is scared that the secret would make Forrest look at Sheena differently. The secret? I see that she has a 5-year son named Elijah. She co-parents Elijah with her aunt. The whole story flips. I can see why Sheena was hurt. I can see why Sheena wanted the relationship to work badly. I can see why Sheena was willing to endure Diana's hostility, Forrest's passivity, and national humiliation. For Sheena, the relationship was not about love. The relationship was about a future for Sheena and Sheena's child. Now here is where I pause and say something I do not usually say during these recaps. If you have ever been in a situation where you felt you had to earn the love of someone, if you have ever felt you had to prove you are worthy of the love, then you already know why Sheena stayed. You already know why Sheena did not tell Forrest about her son away. Some people learn that the truth is much. It feels heavy. Some people learn that the reality is baggage. Some people learn that they must be acceptable to deserve the love. And that is heartbreaking. Yet Forrest finally hears about Elijah, not from Sheena, from the crew. The secret gets out not through honesty, through gossip. Forrest explodes. Forrest does not explode at Sheena. Forrest explodes at the cameras. Forrest storms off set, refuses to film. Forrest calls the entire production toxic. I can see why Forrest reacts that way. That is what you signed up for, and before the 90 days, you knew this was not going to be a retreat. I have seen that the secrets do not stay buried for long. You are mic'd up for 12 hours a day. That brings us to the call to action. If you are still here and still watching this crash unfold in time, tell me in the comments. Do you think Forrest is a victim of manipulation, or does Forrest hide behind manipulation to avoid accountability? The way Forrest moves feels like a mama's boy with a savior complex. I am not sure Forrest is ready for what comes because yes, there is more, way more. Forrest and Diana are not the ones with secrets. So let us get into what turned the story from a disaster into a full-on reality TV scandal. I watched the story spin as everything seemed to spiral. Forrest was gone. Sheena was in tears. Diana was whispering "I told you so's" into the producer's mic. I saw the new figure step out of the shadows. The new figure was not online this time. The new figure was there.